So like every other class, can you sort of see me? Every other session, you do exactly what feels right for you. And hang on, because might have to mute yourselves.
Oh yeah.
Just make
Sorry,
sure. Just make
cat.
sure.
Sorry,
hang on. Yeah, because I've gone on. Yeah, just make sure that you're muted. But obviously, I mean, I should say this every time. If ever you want to unmute yourself and say anything through the class, you just feel free. Stop me. Right. So come into your mat and just allow the feet to be at least at width apart. So you find that stable base. It's something that I say all the time, and it's something that is always. If I say that all the time, and if you pattern that into your body all the time, always have that sense that when you come to stand, you have a stable base, and you can equalise as much as possible the weight between each foot. So then your posture will improve, because if you sink into one foot, your spine will go over to one side, and you can test that, and we'll always sink into our weakest side. So if we allow ourselves to always sink into the weakest side without being aware, that side will become weaker. So always try, when you come to stand on your mat, you start the yoga practice, to balance the weight as equally as possible between both feet. So just check something. That's okay. Right, so we're just going to start by circling the shoulders back, just as we usually do. And just maybe in a sense coming into contact with your breath, or just breathing as you do. And then circling the shoulders forward. And then we're just going to sort of bring the neck into play as well. So as we circle the shoulders forward, just nod the head. So you drawing the chin down, you drawing the chin up, just like as though you're nodding. And then when you circle the shoulders back, just turn the head side to side as though you're saying no. So just kind of doing two things at once, which might not seem like a big deal, but it kind of is for me sometimes. And then stop. And now we're just going to circle the arms a little bit more. So taking the arms forward and just coming in, just sort of being your elbows a little bit wider. And we're just going to circle the shoulders like we did before, but in this sense we're moving the elbows, we're circling the elbows. So we're using the elbows, maybe a bit of a wider movement to free up the shoulders. So you're working through the elbows. So whatever way you've gone, like I've gone backwards, and now go forwards. But having that sense of the elbows, and sometimes kind of the way that I've been taught over the years or practiced, the words come up every now and again in my head. The arms are like wings, so the arms are coming away from the spine. And when we do these kind of movements, it might bring you into contact with that feeling perhaps a little bit more easily. And then just stop with the arms in front, and the elbows are quite soft. Right, so the right arm, we're going to start to circle backwards. And then the left arm, we're going to start to circle forward. So this is one of those things where you don't look at me, because I don't think I can do this at all. But just kind of working whatever you can do. One arm is going forward, one arm is going backwards, or you might be unsure of what you're doing if you're anything like me. And then stop. And then the left arm is going to start to circle backwards. And then the right arm is circling forward. I always want to laugh because, and I'm not looking at myself on the screen because that will just confuse me even more. So just, I think I'm going both ways now. So whatever you're doing is fine, and then stop and just let your arms just rest down by your side. So just using that to mobilise the shoulders, free up the neck a little bit. So let's just do a few little things with the neck a little bit more. Leave the shoulders just as they are and just drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. Make sure you're breathing. You feel that length down the left side of the neck. Bring the head to centre, drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. And then just doing that a few times, just from side to side. Just making sure that your neck feels okay. You're going to feel that through your shoulders. You might be feeling that in other places. It's always interesting, when you drop the left ear towards the left shoulder, sink into the right foot. Do the opposite. When you drop the right ear towards the right shoulder, sink in towards the left foot. Soften the knees. Now if that feels okay for you, just start to circle round. So now taking the gaze down towards the floor and just circling from side to side, but your gaze is going down towards the floor. Soften the knees. Soften the knees. And if this feels okay, you can maybe start to circle, taking the gaze out towards the ceiling. So soft rounding movement, and just circling round. So just being careful, because your head is heavy and your neck is really small and your neck is really precious. You don't need me to say that to you. So just being careful, and then just circle in the opposite direction, or you're just keeping the gaze down towards the floor. I only take the gaze up if it feels something that you'd like to do or is doable. So don't ever force yourself beyond well, you can go beyond your comfort zone a little bit, but you're not pushing yourself too far. And then just stop, and then just let your head come to centre, and your head rests on top of your neck, and your neck is central to your shoulders, and the shoulders are either side of the spine, and the feet rest squarely with balance on the floor. And now soften your knees, bring the elbows in front and just lightly place the hands on the elbows. And we're just going to, soft knees, you're just going to rock or twist from side to side. Just seeing how that feels. Just twisting lightly from side to side. Relax the shoulders as much as possible. And then when you're ready, just come to centre, and then we're just going to round the spine and just let the weight of the arms draw the spine or draw the crown of the head down towards the floor. Long neck, let go of the jaw. And then rounding through the spine, just start to lift, and if possible take the elbows up, take your gaze up towards the ceiling. So you go into a slight back bend, and then you reverse it, so you round the spine and just allow the spine to come down. And you can, if you like, you can rock from side to side. If your knees are soft, make sure you're not shearing through the knees or the muscles. And you can rock from side to side as you take the arms up. And you can rock from side to side as you take the arms down. And maybe just once or twice more, moving through the knees. So you're mobilising the whole body, not just the shoulders. You're just connecting all these little movements to every part of you. And then when you're ready, just come back to centre. Come to centre, and we're just going to see if we can do a figure eight. So just moving the elbows, almost like a wavy sort of thing. So you just figure eight, and you, as you do a figure eight, maybe taking the arms down towards the floor, and then reverse as you come up, taking the arms up, and the gaze can go up, and then reverse. I'm not sure what I'm doing, and then you just take the arms back down. And then this time when the arms come down, just stop. Just let go of the elbows and just see if the fingertips lightly touch the floor. Soften the knees. Let go of your head. You're not trying to get your chest on your thighs or anything like that. You're just trying to lengthen the spine from the tailbone through to the crown of the head. Then ever so carefully, you round yourself and come back up to stand. And then just allow the arms to rest down by your side, just as you started. But notice just the echoes in the body. Notice how just that relatively short little practice kind of resounds or sort of resonates, I suppose is a nice word, within. And then we're just going to, when you're ready, take the right foot forward. So you're not taking the right foot directly in front of the left foot, you're just taking it a little bit forward. And then you're just going to soften both knees. Maybe it's better if I turn. So maybe soften both knees. Lift the back heel up and down a few times. Then let the back heel lightly settle and send the front knee forward. So we're starting to lengthen the back of the leg, but also the front of the hip. Just as we did before, bring the elbows in front and just lightly twist the upper part of the spine from side to side. And this time, if it's okay, start to take the arms up and take the gaze up. Take the gaze up, bring the arms back to centre, and then one more time as you twist from side to side, the upper part of the spine, take the arms up, and then just unfold the elbows. And you're not reaching up, but the weight of the arms rests into the shoulders. And really feel that length from the hands that are above, all the way down through the shoulders, towards that back heel, far below. And then when you're ready, just lower the arms, step back, step forward with the left foot. So you can rock forward and back, just make sure that you have stability, because at the end of the day, all these movements, they're nothing. Exercise is nothing if it doesn't give you a stable feeling in your body, a strong feeling. And then just allow the back heel to settle down as you send the left knee forward. And then the elbows just in front, but move the shoulders. And then perhaps do the figure eights with the elbows. So just kind of easing into the shoulders, because we're going to work into a back bend when we come down onto the floor. Just easing into the shoulders, and as the elbows go up, maybe reversing the flow of the figure eight, taking the gaze up towards the ceiling if it feels okay with your neck, and then let go. Open the arms wide, and just as though you're about to catch like a big beach ball or something, and the arms might go back a little bit as the gaze goes up, but you send that front knee forward, so you feel that length down the front of the right hip, and then lower the arms and step back. And then just readdress the balance in the feet, so equalising the weight in the feet as much as possible. And then we're ever so carefully again, we're going to allow the hands to come onto the knees, soft knees. We're going to bring the hands onto the knees, just kind of easing one knee forward at a time. When, say, the right knee moves forward, it's moving forward past the toes. When the left knee moves forward, it's moving forward past the toes, but you're not locking the right knee. So you're softening your body, you're softening joints that really do become quite set, I suppose, or tight as we get older, because we do the same things over and over again. And these movements, all we're trying to do is ease into them. Perhaps the fingertips come onto the floor. If they don't, it's fine. You can keep them on the knees, or you can put the hands on a chair or something for support. Till eventually you can bring the fingertips down, the knees can bend, and you come into all fours. That's it, lovely. So you come into all fours. So the wrists more or less underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and just as we did before with the arms and the shoulders, now just circle the hips. So as you circle the hips, you can feel that in your knees. If it's too much for your wrists, come onto your knuckles, or you can try being on elbows, you know, just kind of, or you can alternate, you can kind of work into different ways. And the toes can be tucked under if that's uncomfortable. Flatten the feet, just kind of see what feels all right for you. Make sure you circle one way and then the other way, and feel that through your knees. And then do figure eights with the hips, just kind of mobilising the hips as much as possible, and feel that through your shoulders, because whatever you're doing with one part of your body will have an effect or an echo in another part. So nothing works or nothing goes in isolation. And then that kind of echoes what's happening with your thoughts as well. Whatever you're thinking will translate somewhere in your body. I mean, the easiest way to think about that is if you're angry, you're going to get tight jaw, tight fists. And then just come back to centre, and just shake off the wrists, lift up one knee at a time. And then we're going to take our attention to the right knee, and you're going to send the right leg back, and you're going to let the right knee be heavy. And then you're going to round through the spine, round spine, to lift the knee. Draw the chin in. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, sink at the back of the waist, sink between the shoulders, and let the knee drop. Just do that a few times. Round spine, lift the knee. The toes are in contact with the floor still. And then as you sink between the shoulders, as you breathe out, sink at the back of the waist. The knee will drop. And then just do that a few times. And as you do that, just imagine that your spine extends all the way down through to your heels. So when you breathe in and you round the spine, imagine your tailbone easing all the way down through to the right heel. So long spine, further, longer than you think it could be possible. And then when you're ready, stop, and just draw the right knee towards the hands. If it doesn't go very far, it's okay, just bring your hands back to meet it, this is fine. And then we bring the right knee back, and then we take the right knee forward. We take it back, and we take it forward. So you're just mobilising, lengthening the thigh. Now if it feels okay, just stop with the right knee between the hands. So the hip can be off the heel, but see if you can drop the hip down. If it feels easier, you can come onto your elbows. It looks worse, but it's often, some people find it easier. Or see if you can come back away from. So the fingertips just slightly touching and the spine will lift. And then when you're ready, just come back into all fours and ease, if it's okay, testing the water, ease your hips back towards your heels. Make light fists with the hands to support the head. So just go in stages, I suppose. If it feels okay, maybe taking one hand away so the head will lower a little bit more, but your head is heavy, so you're trying just to make sure that it's always supported, or the forehead might come onto the floor. But at all stages, at all times, you work with attention. So that attention gives you clarity of what's happening in your body, gives you a sense of what feels right for you right now. And then when you're ready, just coming back into all fours, and we're going to send the left leg back. So the toes are tucked under, or on the tips of the toes, just depending on how that feels. And then we're going to round the spine. And you're going to imagine the back of the knee being drawn up. Left knee being drawn up. And then as you breathe out, sink between the shoulder blades, sink at the back of the waist, and let the left knee drop. And then round the spine. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, just do the opposite. Let the leg be heavy. So it's kind of finding a bit of movement, just with the breath, and without doing too much at all. But imagining your spine extends from the crown of the head all the way down through to the heels. It's a long, long spine. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring that left knee forward to between the hands. If it doesn't go all the way, you can just bring the hands closer towards the knees and then bring the knee back. And just do that a few times, left knee forward, left knee back. So you're just testing to see how that feels through the thigh. Then the next time the left knee moves forward, just see, you can send the right knee back a little bit to bring the hip down. And then you can tuck the right toes under perhaps to lift the right knee. So you're lengthening the front of that right hip. And then allow the right knee to come down, bring the front of the right foot down, and you don't forget that leg, don't forget the back leg, because that will help you stabilise the hips. If you like, you can bring the elbows down just to kind of see how that feels. Or see, can you bring the fingertips back to lift the spine? But really being aware that the lower back, the hips, the pelvis need to rest. And then when you're ready, we come out, you send the knee back, you ease your hips back into child's pose, go back into that, which is always kind of seen as a resting position, but for some of us it's not restful at all. So only staying in it as long as feels okay for you. So always being attentive to what's happening, the sensations you experience now. So you can make light fists with the hand to support the head, and really let the back of your head be given to the floor, the weight of your head to be given down. Maybe you can take the hands away and the forehead comes down. So child's pose is a really good one at finding length in the spine. And also easing into the joints of the knees and the hips and the ankles. And then just coming back up when you're ready. And we're going to go just kind of ease into these things. So we're going to come into kneeling and we're going to take the right foot forward. So the right foot isn't in front of the knee, because then that's really out of balance. The right foot is out to the side, so you've got space between. And then from here, you're just going to let the hands rest on that right knee. Just sort of settle for a few moments. Feel the front of the back foot sort of down into the floor to lighten the load in the left knee. And then you're just going to see if you can bring the fingertips on the floor. And then we're going to see if we can walk the hands back to bring the hips back towards that left heel. And then we're going to see, can we walk forward? So just kind of working in a way that feels doable for you. If there's anything going on with your knees, you be careful. You might just want to stay here if there's something going on with your knees and do a few little twists. If it feels, you're working with it, every time you go forward, can you take the hands a little bit further forward, but you keep the right heel on the floor? Can you walk the hands back a little bit? So kind of working into that lunge that we were working with yesterday, or seems like ages ago, but just being careful, and you're mobilising. So then when you're ready, just come back into sort of this position, sort of lunge, sort of prep, and then come back up and then swap legs. So if you need to pad up the knees, we're going to do this one more time. If you need to pad the knees up, then you know you can do that. You can roll the mat, or you can put your knee on a blanket or cushion. And you can, what's interesting as well, you can twist, if you twist from side to side, that will often free up any kind of pressure that's around the hips and also around the knees and the ankles. Probably because it sometimes it just takes our mind off it. And then when you're ready, you can just bring the fingertips towards the floor. If it's too much, let the hands rest on a chair. And with the fingertips on the floor, just ease the hips back towards the right heel. And you can, if you like, you can draw the left toes towards you, so you're stretching the back of the leg. And then just ease yourself forward. And every time you go forward, can you take the hands a little bit further forward, but only as far as you keep that left heel connected to the floor. So you're not pushing into the knees. And you keep your attention as well on that back foot. The back foot, the right foot, lightens the load in the left knee. So they're really good ones at mobilising these, finding mobility in the knees, strength in the knees, encouraging circulation to the knees. But obviously you have to go careful. If you know you've got stuff going on with your knees or your ankles or your feet. So then when you're ready, you just come back to where you started, come up, and then just come back to kneeling. Right, so you're kneeling, so there's space between the knees, and you can come onto the tips of the toes, because that will just lift the heels slightly. So we're going to go into the slight back bend. So you're going to go careful, and you're just going to do what feels doable for you. You're going to start off by lifting one knee at a time and relax the shoulders. You're going to bring the elbows in front just as we did before, and you're just going to twist, might be the wrong word, or rock from side to side. Relax your shoulders as much as possible. Now your gaze can follow, so when you twist or turn towards the left, the gaze turns past the left shoulder. When you twist towards the right, the gaze turns past the right shoulder. And get a sense of connection to what's happening in the centre of the spine. And then when you're ready, next time maybe you twist towards the right, let the left hand rest on the right shoulder, turn the gaze to look behind you, and just see, is there a possibility of bringing the right hand towards the right heel or the right hip? Just kind of see where you are. You're trying not to reach, and then come back, twist from side to side. You're going to feel this through your knees. And then when you're ready, you just twist round towards the left. The right hand can rest on the left shoulder. Your gaze can turn to look behind you. And is there a possibility of just touching the left hand, just touching the left heel? And then come back to centre. Just before you do anything, just twist again, side to side, and then just one more time. Left hand can come to the right shoulder, right fingertips might just touch the right heel, and then come back, right hand on the left shoulder, left fingers might just touch the left heel, and then you come back and you just bring the hands down, you flatten the feet, and you just ease back. If it's too much for you with all this knee stuff, just bring the legs in front and just rub the knees, just kind of doing whatever feels right for you, so that you can start again. So we're just going to go one more time. So we're going to work into camel or Ustrasana. So this is a back bend. So you can take, if you like, you can take the knees a little bit wider. Come on to the tips of the toes. And start with the hands, do this again. Start with the hands resting just as they were, so one hand on each elbow. And then we're just going to turn the elbows round towards the right. And then the right hand's going to touch the right ankle or heel, and then come back. This is what you did before, because this might be enough for you. Left hand on the left ankle or heel. Then come to centre. Right, now this time, so the elbows are in front, we're going to take the elbows behind. We're going to round the shoulders forward. So you're going to a bit of a forward bend, and then we're going to imagine that from inside underneath the ribs to the top of the head, you lift and you grow. And then you're going to allow the shoulders and the weight of the elbows to rest down towards the base of the spine. Your gaze is still forward. Your gaze is still forward because your head is heavy. And then you're just going to see if you can unfold. You can take one hand, or the right hand maybe on the right heel, the left hand on the left heel. Your gaze is still forward. And then from here, you're just going to bring the hips down or go back to where you started. Flatten the feet, ease your hips back towards the heels and allow the head to be given down towards the floor. And you breathe into the back of the body. Or the body. So we're going to go one more time. Obviously, if you've had enough, you know, you've had enough. If you want to give it a go and it's kind of not working for you, I've got really long arms, so always take me with a pinch of salt. You can have a chair behind you to kind of ease down into the chair, or you can use, you know, you can use a wall or a settee. Just let the hand rest on the settee. If it's okay for you, we just do what we did before. If it was easy for you, you can flatten the feet. Or if you bring the toes up, that lifts the heels a little bit higher. So just kind of do what feels right for you. Start off with the elbows in front. And if that's enough for you, don't do any more than that, because this isn't, you know, this is lengthening the front of the thighs. Whatever you're, you know, it's a really good one at opening up the front of the body and extending the spine. So just rock from side to side. Because if that's enough for you, you just do that. You don't have to do any more than that. And then when you really come to centre now, relax your shoulders. Really have a sense of space between the ears and the shoulders as you take the elbows to rest behind. Allow the weight of the elbows to lift the chest ever so slightly. So from inside underneath the ribs, you're coming up, your gaze is still forward. And then just see, can you unfold the arms just to lightly touch the heels? And there is quite a lot of trust involved because you can't see your heels. Then you can either bend, you can either come down, or you just come forward and lower and come down into child's pose and stop. So it's all kind of built up to quite a bit of a position really. So now when you stop, allow yourself to stop. So the forehead can rest, it can be either on 2 fists or 1 fist, or the forehead can be resting on the floor. The elbows can be wide. If it's too much for you, you come to sit. And you just allow yourself to settle, to notice echoes in the body, movement in the body, life. And then when you're ready, you can just come over onto your back and settle down and just lie down, I should say. So keep your knees bent, if it's all right for you to keep the knees bent. Place one hand on your abdomen, one hand on the chest. And just notice nothing else but your breath as it settles and the passage of the breath. So if you're breathing through the nose, notice the breath coming in through the nose, into the chest, underneath the hand that's resting around the collarbones, into the belly, into the hand that's resting at the belly. And then as you breathe out, you let the whole chest, from the belly to the chest and out through the nose, empty. The breath comes in through the nose, to the chest, down to the belly. And the breath leaves from the belly, from the chest, the throat and the nose. And you gradually just do or feel a little bit less, or do a little bit less, but perhaps feel a little bit more. So the sense of the breath inside, coming from outside into your body on the in-breath, and as you breathe out from the inside, going to the outside. So giving yourself a point of focus. Because like most of our practices, or all the practices really within yoga, the breath, these practices aren't really about your breath, or aren't really about the movements. It's about training yourself to notice and to observe and to be quite clear about what's happening right now, to have a sense of you. And that starts to occur when really you let go of any aim or particular judgment. And you're just happy just to be with the breath as it is now, as it enters your body and as it leaves. And gradually, just do a little bit less. But know that your breath is still there. And as the session comes towards its close, just noticing, quite importantly noticing, how you feel right now. And opening your eyes, knowing where you are. And you can move and stretch, taking your time, or deciding to stay a little bit longer. And then just when you're ready, maybe rolling over onto your side, taking your time and coming to sit up.